I've got a confession. And in many cultures and religions, the confession usually happens between the confessee and one confessor. Well, I've got about 200 confessors in the room that I'm going to confess to, so I feel really comfortable with that, though. So my confession to you this afternoon is I want to start a revolution. When I say revolution, it's probably the last thing that you would expect me to say that I would want to do. But just like Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, or Clark Kent, Superman, or Bruce Wayne, Batman, they've got alter egos or perhaps hero complexes. I thought to myself, why not me? Why can't I start a revolution? So before we start with that topic, I'd like to talk about something that's probably counterintuitive to revolution, and that's the topic of joy. So let's start with a definition of joy. You'll see that on the screen there. So joy is derived from the French word joie. Joie. I just love saying it. And joie is around the passion or emotion by the acquisition, or excited by the acquisition or the expectation of good. It's the rational prospect of possessing something that we love or desire. I hope these are connecting with a few of you out there. The last one, gladness. It's that exaltation. It's the exhilaration of spirit. Right? And joy, just like anger we heard this morning, gives us many, many gifts. It gives us emotional vitality. It gives us liveliness. And most importantly, it helps us build our resilience. Now, the journey to my journey to joy has been a long one, actually, as I thought about it, preparing for this talk. Started about 38 years ago. I hate to admit that, but it was in the last year of high school when we were asked as the graduating class to define success. What does success look like for us? I remember distinctly defining it as to put a smile on someone's face every single day. And so you fast forward to today, and that definition of success still reigns true for me. I just get an immense amount of joy when I can be a part of putting a smile on just one person's face every day, even if that person's just me. And that's kind of funny to see when I'm making myself smile. So joy comes in many, many different forms and formats, and so when you think of joy, what comes to mind for you? Well, for me, the little baby in the corner there, that black and white photo, when I hold an infant or a newborn in my arms and stare into their eyes, and I feel that connection, I well up with joy, almost to the point of tears. And I experience even more joy when I hand the baby back. I think it's probably out of appreciation or relief. I don't know. Now, I don't know if you know the two. I'm sure you've all sort of seen the two people in the other picture, Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. Well, Olivia Newton-John has been a part of my life, I would say, for probably 40 years. And her music resonates with me, and I can't put words to it. But what's really amazing is what comes behind the music for her and the joy that music brings to her as well in terms of her thriving. She's dealt with a lot of things, and it comes into her music, and her music has provided me with lots of joy. And music, period, provides me with joy, classical music and so on. The other picture there you see at the top there is one of a pizza. Food brings me joy, and perhaps a little bit too much, but that's okay. And it's not just the act of eating food or a variety of food or whatever. It's preparing food. It's knowing that guests are coming into the house and we're sharing food and we're having great conversation. And it's the experience of joy that really rallies me around that sort of food prep and all that sort of stuff. I love that. The center photo there is of a friend's dog. And I love pets. Their unconditional love, again, just fills my soul. And pets are an important part of my life. That last photo there is of me in nature, working the land. And again, for some of you out there, you know that me in nature's a thing. But the work in the land couldn't be further from joy as I could ever experience. So maybe I could cut that photo in half or something like that and leave the work part out of it. I do like to get my hands dirty though, so it's not about that. So what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Let's see a show of hands in the room who can actually think of something that they experienced that was joyful in the last day or week. Oh, fantastic. That's fantastic. I'd love to see that. Cool. Now, how about in our workplace? An experience of joy in the workplace. Okay, still a few hands, but man, a lot slower. Yes. All right. Well, I'll show you a few of mine if you're interested. So in the bottom corner, we've got just laughter. I love to laugh at work. Playfulness is one of my core values, and if I can't play at work, if I can't hold things lightly at work, then it's not meaningful for me. It's not joyful for me. The picture at the top, the black and white picture, it just represents learning. So whether I'm teaching in an academic environment or with organizations in training and development, just being a part of that learning, that transformation of people as they move through their own growth and development, whether it's leadership development or whatever, but just that connection with that learning just inspires me so much. The middle photo is not dissimilar in that as a coach, when I can experience and perhaps partner with that other individual in realizing an aha moment, that gives me joy. It just sets me on fire. And allowing myself to be creative at work and creating the conditions for that creativity is oftentimes very, very meaningful for me. So I hope you can begin to think of other areas where joy can enter into your life at work. Now, in terms of the reasons why we need to bring joy at work, I want to go over these five elements here that I've researched. And the first one is burnout. Now, according to the World Health Organization study that just came out, or information that just came out within the last 2 weeks, burnout has been added to their international classification of diseases for the first time. There's a North American study that states that 90% of professionals are either overwhelmed or stressed at work. And let me tell you, I know a few of them. So the statistics are alarming. Also, something that was mentioned in a CBC news blip a couple of weeks ago was the fact that millennials are no longer being defined as entitled or leisure-seeking, but the word now to be used for millennials is burnt out. Not good. The second one we have here is loneliness, and loneliness is connected to burnout, and it's about it's a very private emotion, but yet its impact on productivity and morale in organizations is huge. Now, the health insurer Cigna has run some data, and they mentioned that anywhere between 20 to 25% of Canadians I experienced either some or a lot of isolation or loneliness in their everyday work. That's a lot of people. People are disconnected. We've heard many stories today around that disconnection. Some of the amazing work that Dr. Brené Brown has done has really just surfaced the fact that human beings are hardwired for connection and belonging. And I know I've been in teams and organizations where I have not felt connected. I have not felt as though I belong to anything bigger or better than myself. Disengagement is the fourth one then. And let me tell you, folks, the stats aren't getting a lot better with disengagement. Just over the past couple of weeks, newer studies have come out. Around 70% of our workplaces are disengaged. So either actively disengaged or disengaged. And that, of course, could have something to do with the work environment that's manifested, and or the culture, which is oftentimes a very hard thing to shift. The last one we have here is meaninglessness. And meaninglessness is a word that I've sort of mushed together. And it's on the base of meaninglessness is the fact that we don't find meaning or purpose in our work. And if we have meaning or purpose in ourselves, in our own lives, we just can't see that alignment of that to our work or within our work situations. So not good. So I've got a bit of a story. Someone who I know quite well was working in a position for 35 years and absolutely hated it. Absolutely just detested the work, detested the environment, no natural light, sucked the energy right out of him. He would come home and be despondent. I mean, luckily, the family life was okay, but it really took a toll on the people that he was surrounded by. And that person was my father. And I just hated seeing him like that. And so I vowed that one of the things that I needed to do in my life was to put a smile on everybody's face, because everybody deserves a bit of joy. So these are the reasons why I want to start the joy revolution. In my own small way, I'd like to be able to change the world and change the world of work. All right. And to combat those 5 things before, come up with 4 C's of the joy revolution. And the first one is compassion. Self-compassion mainly. Let's start with ourselves. Are we worthy of joy? Absolutely we are worthy of joy. Why not? The person beside you sitting at work and the person on the other side of you sitting at work are also worthy of joy. So let's begin to share that worthiness. Connection. And this is about connection, once again, to myself. What matters to me? What makes me joyful at work and in life? And really connecting to that. And sharing that with others through connection. I find just I get an amazing high when I can connect with laughter and humor. And I know that that's been proven to be a connector in the organization. So if you enjoy laughing, yeah, spread the word. Conviction is another one, and conviction is very important to me because it is around my personal dedication, my personal commitment, my personal accountability to dig deep to access my joy when I can. Important, really, really important. And it's not to say that we don't all suffer. I totally get that we suffer. I've suffered, and many of you, if not all of us in the room, have suffered in one way or the other. I lost my brother when he was in his late 20s. I lost my best friend when I was in my late 20s. My mother passed away 13 years ago. I have been discriminated against, and as a result of that, I have been physically assaulted. I have a condition that severely limits my physical ability. I can't hike, I can't play tennis, I can't do a lot of things that most of us take for granted. But that's okay, because I choose to wake up every single day when I hit that alarm clock, not to say, gosh darn alarm clock, it's just, wow, another day. I choose that. Choice is so important. Courage is about being courageous and vulnerable and leaning into the discomfort of these conversations that might be very foreign to us. I can't remember if I've ever had a conversation about joy in the workplace. Very, very important to be courageous in and of ourselves and to once again, lean on that discomfort. So we've all heard the term random acts of kindness. Well, I'm proposing intentional moments of joy. I want to be able to start a small ripple by creating intentional moments of joy for myself and pass that outward so other people can experience their intentional moments of joy and harnessing it and sharing it and being together in that. With me, I get immense joy out of my bow ties. And I like wearing bow ties. The reason why I wear a bow tie is not just because I enjoy wearing them, but it's because I know that when I wear them, I heard some people smiling right there or laughing, that when I put on a bow tie and I walk down a hallway within an organization or just down the street, invariably one or two people smile. It puts a smile on their face. I can see smiles. You can't say that you're not smiling. Okay, gotcha. And for me, that brings joy. Now, we don't need to have a bow tie. We don't need to have a cape as superpower, Superman, or Wonder Woman, the lasso, or anything like that as these symbols of joy. I have this because it makes me happy and it makes others happy. We don't need those. What we need to do is we need to choose to access the joy that we have within ourselves and welcome joyful conversations in the workplace. I'm going to start with my small ripple and have a joy revolution. Stand up if you're going to join me. Come on, stand up, and let's have a joy revolution together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.